Hello, my dear learner. Welcome to you all. This is Moshad Ali, Assistant Teacher English Rotanpur TN Vidapit, Karigar Satkira. So, dear learner, today's topic is about tense, and this topic is especially for the students of class 6. So, before entering into the class, I will tell you important matter to understand the class properly. Attention is very important. Attention is very important to understand anything, any matter, any issue, etc. So, if you don't attend to the class minutely, you will not be able to understand. So, please hit to my class. So, dear learners, try to see what I have written on the whiteboard. As your time is not wasted, I have written before to understand you, to make you understand perfectly. So, at the very beginning, we see that there is topic. There is topic. Our topic is initial ideas of tense. That means primary ideas of tense. There are many students who know about initial ideas about tense, but some of you who don't know about tense. So, for them, I have prepared this lesson, prepared this class, especially for them. So now, topic initial ideas of tense. So, tense is called the soul of English. Without tense, we cannot imagine any grammar. We cannot enter into the gateway of grammar. So, tense is very crying it to learn any grammar in English. So now, for instance, we have to now know about the definition of tense. About the definition of tense. That means we have to know what is tense. The period of doing or performing any work. The period of doing or performing any work is called tense. In a simple sense, we can define it in this way. So now, we have already learned about the definition of tense. Here, we find that the period of performing works is called tense. Okay. So, dear learner, who are unable to understand my speaking, my lecture in English, you have to carefully see on the whiteboard. I have written here the definition. So, at the same time, you have to carefully notice on the whiteboard and my lecture. So now, we have already now learned about the definition. The period of performing work is called tense. Now, come to the another point, types of tense. We know that from our primary level, we know that there are three types of tense, especially or mainly, basically, there are three types of tense. One is present tense, another is past tense, and another is future tense. These are the three main tense. And if we see to in the present tense, we will find another four branches, four type of tense of present tense. That means we will find four types of tense in present tense. In our next class, we will discuss about it in detail. So now today we are discussing our class in short. As this is the class of especially for the students of class 6. Even 7 students, the students of class 7, 8, they take it as their lesson, as their subject. So now, dear learner, we have already learned about the definition and type of tense. Now, we are entering into the topic about present tense. Present tense. What is present tense? What is present tense? Carefully listen. Carefully listen. If any work is done, if any work is done or is being done or has been or have been done in present time, in present period, then the period of doing or performing that work is called present tense. It's called present tense. So now, in present tense, we will find the form of verb beyond. That is verb, present form of verb. Present form of verb. Okay. You will see too on the whiteboard. I have given you the definition of the present tense and where to identify. That is, how can we identify present tense? How can we find out, fish out present tense among other tense? Okay. Now this is very important point. You have to note on your khata or on your special book. How can we identify present tense? A present tense is a type of tense where we presently work. It is present. So now, how can we identify present tense? We can identify present tense by viewing, by observing its verb. We must find out, we must find or see beyond or the base form of verb, the present form of verb in present tense. In present tense. So now, if we enter into the deep of the present tense, we will find out or we will find about the use of am, is, are, have, and has. Okay, am, is, are, have, and has. We will find it in our present tense. Am. We have to know about the use of am. Am is always used or am is generally used after I. It is the possession of I. It is the possession of I. It is the property of I. Okay, now then is. Is always used or generally used or simply used after third person singular number. After third person singular number. You have already known there are three types of person: first person, second person, and third person. Then first person I and we. Second person you, and third person he, she, they. So now where is will be used. Okay, if we find third person singular number in present tense, we can use there the is. Then another point are. Similarly, we can use are after plural number. After plural number. And we can use are in any other way after we. Now, have and has. Use of have and has. After first person, we and I, we will use have. And after plural number of third person, we can use have. But after singular number, third person singular number, then we have to use has. We have to use has. Okay, dear learner, we have learned this important point. So now, try to understand and try to remember after viewing this class about the use of am, is, are, have, has. Okay, now there is another tense, that means past tense. So now we have to know now about the definition of past tense. What is past tense? Past always indicate past thing. Past always refers to past. Okay, now if any work was done or was being done or had been done in past period, then the period of doing that work called past tense. The period of doing or the period of performing that work is called past tense. Okay, just like the present tense, how can we identify that if it is present tense or past tense or future tense? Okay, now our point is way to identify. How can we identify it? We can identify the past tense by viewing its verb, verbal form. That means the form of verb. The form of verb in generally or simply in our past tense we see that after subject the past tense will be applied. The past tense will be used to make sentence in past tense. So now we have already learned about the definition of the past tense, about the definition of past tense. At the same time, we have learned about the way of identify, way to identify. That is way of identification. How can we identify? Then use of was and were. In our past tense, we will find that means we will notice, we will see about these two type of word was and were. Was and were. In our past tense, we'll see it. Now we have to know about the use of was and were in past tense. After first person, we can use it was. That means I was in, I was in, I may use here such type of sentence. Then where? Then where? Where is plus used after plural number. After plural number. They were dancing. They were swimming. They were constructing. Okay. In this way, we can bring different types of example. Yeah. Or we will go in our example after a little bit. So now, already we have learned about the present tense and past tense and its definition. We have identification and use of amateur, was, have as, etc. So now, this is the point of future tense. This one. Once again, welcome back, my dear learners. Now, our discussing topic is future tense. Future tense. If you notice carefully, you can see it on my whiteboard. I have written future tense. Like other tense, we will now know about our definition. That means what is future tense. We have to know now. So now, what is definition or what is future tense? If any work will be done or will be being done, will have been done in future, then the period of performing the type of work is called future tense. It's called future tense. So now you have to carefully attend to my lecture, attend to my class, otherwise you will not be able to understand. So now, definition, we have already learned definition, then the way of identification, that is how to identify this type of tense. We can identify this type of tense, that is we can identify this type of tense by viewing the use of shall and will. Shall and will. In future tense, we must see about the use of shall and will. About the use of shall and will. Okay, now we have to know about the use of shall and will. Shall and will. Shall is generally used after first person. Shall is generally used after first person, but there is exceptional too. Now we are not discussing about the exceptional point. We are only discussing the main or general point or simple point. Okay, now so we have learned about the use of shall. Where we will use it, after first person. After first person. Then about use of will. This will be used after third person. After third person singular number, we may use it. Okay, now we have discussed many things, many points, many issues. Now we are going to see about the example of present tense, past tense, present tense, past tense, and future tense. I have written here A, B, C, D, and E. These five example. Okay, I am reading out this example and listen carefully and notice carefully on the whiteboard. Then you will be able to understand. Okay, now I work. I work in a factory. I work in a factory in a maze and factories. Okay, now how can I identify this type of sentence? Whether they are present tense or past tense or future tense. In this present tense, this is obviously present tense, as we have seen that there is the form of verb, present form. The present form of verb or main form of verb, work. This is work. This is main form. But if we want to make this sentence into past tense, then we have to use worked. Worked. Listen. W-O-R-K. This is past tense. If we used past tense, worked, then this type of sentence will be considered as the sentence of past tense. So now here we have seen that there is work, the main form of verb, base form of verb. So this is present tense. This is present tense, and it's obvious. I have a garden. I have a garden. This is very simple sentence. This is very simple sentence to understand. Okay, we have already done about the use of have. Have is generally used in present tense, but past form is, let's see, had. This is past tense. This is past tense. That means if we want to apply the use of have in past tense, then we must use have as a past form. So I have a garden. So after viewing or observing this sentence, we will find use of have. So now we can obviously say that this is a sentence of present tense. This is a sentence of present tense. Okay, now next, number C. I worked in a factory. I worked in a factory. I told you before about the present tense and past tense about worked. Work. So I have used here work. Ed. There is V2. V to past form of verb. Past form of main verb. So this is obviously a past tense. This is obviously a sentence of past tense. Another example, I had a garden. I have a garden, this is present tense, and I had a garden, this is past tense. Had is used in past tense, I told you. Now, I shall work in a factory. Number E, I shall work in a factory. I told you how can I identify future tense. There I told you we must find out about the use of shall and will. In future tense, we will find the use of shall and will. So in this sentence, we find that there is the use of shall. There is the use of shall of the first person. So I shall work in a factory. This is obviously a sentence of future tense. A sentence of future tense. That means it will be done. The work will be done in future. So there is an important point we have to remember. That means point to be noted on your khata, on your diary, etc. After shall and will, we must use beyond the base form of verb, the main form of verb. Okay, if we use another form, that is past form or past participle form, then the sentence will be incorrect. So, dear learner, I told you in short about the use of about tense. So now This is the time for it. You have to try again and again to be a stakeholder of knowledge, especially on the initial ideas of test. Otherwise, you will not be able to be a knowledge holder. So now, I request you try again and again to learn. Don't waste your time. This is the time of Corona. So now, stay home safely and spend your time with book and make yourself the stakeholder of English knowledge.